Right, it's time for our moral moments of the week. I feel we've already had quite a few moral moments in today's programme. But I want to start with your choice, Mohammed, which is concern about the impact of Michael Gove's new plans to rehaul exams at 16 and the effect that's going to have on dyslexic students.
Absolutely. I mean, I work quite a lot in education in the broadest terms, and clearly there's a need to review and overhaul the way we examine in this country. We are falling behind our partners across the world in terms of our educational attainment and achievement levels. I think the difficulty is that Gove and the coalition government have overstepped the mark by not consulting with individual groups and organisations. Now, the Dyslexia Association's come out and said moving to a single examination format, the old style O-levels, and moving away from GCSEs where you have lots of coursework, is going to affect lots of people.
I mean, what do you think of that, Douglas?
Well, I mean, there are all sorts of problems with our exam system. Mohammed is entirely right. We are slipping in the world, in our league tables and so on. I think that one of the things that should be stated is that anyone who defends the status quo, as a lot of unions and so on do at the moment, should know that they are defending a status quo which is failing. I mean, 1 in 5 children leave our schools functionally illiterate. And if you defend a status quo where 1 in 5 children begin their life in that situation, then I think
but on the dyslexic issue, I mean...
I have the same view. We're homeschooling our kids because I believe our schools are failing. And that's a sad indictment of our education system. It needs a whole revision. But in terms of the dyslexic case, I think we need to provide a lot more support. One exam within an hour and a half determines the end. I don't think that's the way forward. I think it should be consistent.
How we used to do it in my day.
I don't like that. I'm not an exam person. I like courseworks. I like the support that is given. Extraordinary talents, perhaps they need extraordinary support. Remember, many of our senior ministers were dyslexic. Can you imagine if they had support, what they could have become? I'm really surprised that we're not doing enough.
I want to go on to your choice of story, which is a very interesting one, which is the campaign that's getting a lot of signatures to try and ban page 3. And I think we've got a very interesting, very tasteful graphic, which doesn't show at all what we're talking about, but it's obviously topless women as a feature of the Sun newspaper. What's your view on that?
When I saw the report, I thought that's a very good thing. Lynn Featherstone, the Lib Dem MP, apparently has tabled or is leading the campaign. Imagine I'm sitting in the train with my little son or daughter, and there is somebody who has left Sun newspaper open with page 3, and my daughter and my son says, "Daddy, has this woman forgotten to wear her top?" What do I say? How do I give a moral justification? I can't.
It is one where we all agree.
So my problem is, what do we do? Are we not demeaning women? Are we not trying to sell newspaper by reducing women to breasts in that way? Wouldn't Tesco's Voucher do a better job?
Well, it's interesting because it is the whole freedom of speech versus offence debate, isn't it?
Yeah, it does come back to that a bit.
And strangely enough,
I think we probably agree in some ways on this one, if not the previous one. I mean, the thing is that my response to it, I don't like page 3. I don't like the idea of it. I don't like the idea that you sexualise your society even further. I mean, this isn't the only way in which that happens. I don't like the idea, as you say, that your children kind of see this as being an acceptable thing to do as an adult.
That it normalises it.
But, just very quickly, my response to that is not to ban page 3 or to stop the Sun from doing it, but I don't buy the paper.
Ah, OK, that's an interesting one. Right, now your choice is an interesting one. It's Nick Clegg's apology, which has been set to music, and I think he's allowed it to be released on iTunes.
Yes.
His apology for having made the promise
to
try and cut tuition fees, but actually says it was right to triple them.
Exactly. I think this is quite interesting because we're very used to people saying sorry, and often saying sorry for things they haven't done and getting a lot of applause for it. I mean, rightly, I think David Cameron made a very good apology on the Hillsborough thing, but it's easier to do things when it's not the thing that you are responsible for. And one of the things about the Clegg thing is he hasn't even said sorry for breaking his promise. He said sorry for making the promise. And that's a very different thing. But there is a good side to this, and I don't always have good things to say about Nick Clegg. But it's this. It's that when he went into the last election, Nick Clegg was promising something which he knew, I think, that he couldn't deliver. The money has to come from somewhere, and there is not sufficient money to send people to university without a rise in tuition fees. Now, he promised something he couldn't deliver. I hope he learns the lesson, and the electorate learn the lesson, that impossible promises are something that we should lose from our political debate. We need honesty from politicians, just as we need them from other public figures. So saying sorry for sorry is one step in the right direction.
All right. Well, thank you all very much indeed for your choices.